Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to another Thursday Night Live. No, it's not. It is Cryptomaniacs on a Thursday Night Live. This is the first time we've done a Thursday night show in a while. So the live stream is happening right now for your viewing pleasure on Vim, on YouTube, on Twitter. I'm even streaming to Facebook because we know we've got to capture that demographic task. That is very important to the future of Hive, to capture that demographic on Hive. Wait a minute. That's older people than you and I. Uh-oh. We're in trouble.
Yeah, well, we want to appeal to the fossils.
Yes, perfect. Hello, Eliana. Eliana says, I like this time. Yeah, so we were scheduled.
How did you like this time? It's like got to be like 2 or 3 a.m. and where she is.
Yeah, because she does. This is when everyone's sleeping in her house.
Is she
the
like
only
a
time she has
vampire or
quiet.
some shit?
No, her kid's knocked out. Her husband's knocked out.
Organ harvesting and late night. I mean, I'm starting to wonder: is Eliana even human? Is she?
No.
It's midnight. She's out howling at the moon or something. She's a werewolf.
Nice. Lots of people looking in on Vim, and they're probably all here.
This is Cryptomaniacs, where we make fun of our audience.
Yes, perfect. Stream. Lots of people on Vim tuning in, and I'm sure they're all probably going to be looking for the word of the day. I have not spoken to Eric yet, so if Eric is tuning in, maybe just throw me a word of the day, and we'll see. We'll see how the day progresses. How did we do on questions, dude? I literally just got off work. I'm filled with concrete. I don't even know what's going on. What's happening, man? Well, how did the question and answers go for Threadcasts?
We got a few from Cal here. Didn't I send it to you? There.
No, I got it. I'm going to load it up here. I haven't even looked at it yet. That's how delayed I am.
I don't think I just sent it out again on Leo Threads, and the only one who asked questions was Cal.
Oh, perfect. It's great. Dang. That's okay though. We can have some fun. I don't know. I just had a blast with that blog. When we spoke about it the other day about how I was comparing Leo to Splinterlands, that got a lot of attention. I just loaded it up and there's a bunch of comments. Got a bunch of people sitting there. They liked it. So we can dive into that post. We can dive into the posts you've been making over the past couple of days, as well as talking about feet for Cal, because I'm sure that's the question that he has, right? It's about feet.
He's not fully out of the closet with that, unfortunately. Nifty's trying to get him to, embrace that side of himself publicly. So no need to feel ashamed in this day and age. You like what you like, and But anyway,
no shame in that.
Yeah, we can go through what I've been talking about, what you've been talking about. I think it is an interesting parallel to your thoughts about Splinterlands as compared to what you see with Leo finance in general. I think that these are worthwhile topics to discuss.
Perfect. I like it, man. Let's say hi again to everyone in Vim. Tokenized is there. Greetings, sir. And Eliana is here in YouTube. So let's dive into Cal's we'll just call this Cal's questions. How about that? That could be a show. He could create a podcast. Cal's questions. No?
Well, wouldn't it be Cal's answers? Because he wouldn't ask himself his questions.
Yeah, that's true. Well, he's just asking questions to whoever wants to answer them, maybe. Something like
maybe.
that.
That might be something.
It seems quiet on the crypto front. What do you guys think is brewing in the distance? Some are calling for crypto summer, and others are saying that the recession is just getting started. Let's look at our Bollinger Bands, shall we? Task, what do you think? Do you think we're here at crypto summer, or do you think we're just getting started?
The recession doesn't matter. It's anybody who watches the markets knows there's no correlation, especially the U.S. markets, to the recession. You would think there is, but the markets aren't dependent on the economy. So does that mean that economic sentiment can't take the market down? It could. The problem is not the problem. The reality is this is a global situation economically. It's not just the United States. So in that circumstance, if things get bad enough economically around the world, then it becomes a flight for safety, which the flight for safety is U.S. assets. It's U.S. markets, and in fact, we've seen the market, hold up fairly well as compared to other markets. We've seen the dollar getting stronger as compared to other currencies, in spite of the doom and gloomers who always are predicting the dollar is going to crash. Capital flow overwhelms the economic fundamentals, and so that could, in the U.S. domestically, kick off the risk on sentiment. And people could be flown into equities. People then could flow into cryptocurrency. People could flow into different things. Now, I'm not saying crypto is necessarily a safe haven because I don't think it operates like that at this point. But you could see money flowing into some of these directions based upon how bad things get economically, and if you have the Japanese stock market or London stock market getting crushed, they're going to want to get out of it. And the developing countries, they're going to want to get out of their currency, and that could trigger some people running to crypto. I'm not saying it will, but I think the inflation. I think by the end of summer, the inflation argument will be out the window, and I think the Fed will have reversed course by then. And at that point, then I think the market takes that positively. So this summer could be a lot of grinding, but I think we might get a little bit of some daylight by the end of summer.
I mean, it kind of goes like, obviously you are much more in depth with this and much more knowledgeable. But for me, I always have these gut feelings, and my gut feeling, and it's something, I got to give credit to Raymond Speaks from BroFund for this. This is something he said years ago, and it really hit me, and it made a lot of sense to me. It's like, every time someone's looking this way, I'm going to look the other way. So that's like, if the market's all bullish, he's usually bearish. If someone's raving about this coin, he's looking at another coin. When someone's pooping on a coin, he's looking at that coin. And I think that's something that I feel helps me navigate these markets a little bit better. Like, for example, Leo. I mean, obviously not a secret, we like Leo, but it's still so damn underpriced, in my opinion. I mean, so it is, as much as we rave about it, it's still not skyrocketed. It's still not mooned. So that tells me the majority of the people aren't looking here. There's a core group of people on Leo that are looking here, looking to stack long term, looking at all the things that are being developed. But the majority of people aren't looking here. So that's why I'm going to look here. As crypto as a whole, I'm in a bubble, man. I mean, my little bubble is Hive. It's Leo. That's it. Like, I sold all my Ethereum amazing stuff last week, so I totally don't have anything other than what we see on Hive, and it's a blessing and a curse. So my pulse of the crypto front, I kind of take the lead from what people on Leo are talking about and what you're talking about all the time.
John's worst nightmare is MetaMask comes out with a token and does an airdrop to people who've used MetaMask.
Oh, because I'll get the token and I won't be able to do anything with it because it costs $20,000.
Well, and you'll get it in like 9 different wallets, and you won't know where the hell they are.
Yeah, who thought that was a good idea? Hey guys, let's just create string. And I get it, it's crypto, and we want to be super secretive and all this stuff, but like OX, like every time I see OX, I lose my mind. Anyways, that's for another show. We'll have an entire show dedicated to John's love for Ethereum. Cal also says, What do you think of Hive and HBD? I've heard a lot of excitement lately about HBD finally from outside whales. It seems like we're finally starting to gain some financial trust as an ecosystem with the 20% APR on HBD savings. Of course, this will all happen when I took all of my HBD out and bought Leo. So, like, I mean, you know, everyone's going to be going into HBD, and John will be completely looking the other way. But what do you think, man? What do you think? You
Well,
think
first off, it doesn't
stability?
matter because you're not going to moon the price of HBD.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
meant to be stable. I haven't, you know, I'm like you. I don't really drift out, so I don't know what outside whales he's referring to. You know, it's again, to me, it doesn't matter. It happens when it happens. We have to look at with the stable coin, build in the value around it and on it. And yes, I mean, obviously, I'm sold on the 20%. I've written 1,000 articles on why it's sustainable, why we need a lot more HBD. You know, if some whales who are not on Hive are looking at it, that's a good thing. But then you get, of course, the liquidity problem and how they get in and that type of thing. And then they got to try to get some Hive and convert it and that whole mess. But, you know, it's hard to beat. The fact is, HBD, we are building utility to it, number one. And number two, there's tremendous upside because there's 30 million tokens or whatever it is out there, 30 million coins, and like 20 million of them are in the DHF. So, you know, there's really an effective free float of 10, maybe 11 million. And when you look at like Tether at whatever they are, 75 billion or whatever, there's a lot of upside if we're going to be a legitimate stable coin. And you're going to need a shitload more liquidity. You're going to need a shitload more derivatives. You're going to need it to be used for funding. You're going to be used for payments, for investing, and you're going to need to set it up to collateralize it. Yeah. So that's just what it is.
You're funny. What you said is funny to me because I see Eliana in there, Team HBD. She put that in YouTube. You know, I like full disclosure, so we'll just, you know, we'll do story time with John Go. Full disclosure. Eliana and I are in the midst of, well, we have this past week, we sold one of our websites. Nothing, it's just, it was a side website. Barely anyone on Hive even knew about it. So it's not anything that you guys would know if I'd mentioned it. But the person that bought it came to me and said, how would you like me to pay for this? Do you want me to PayPal you the money? Well, no, it's like, that's like a legitimate question because the majority of the times, if you're doing business online, like people say, what's your email
and John
address
said, no,
PayPal?
I'm in cryptocurrency. He said, do you want me to send you Ethereum? And John hung himself twice.
Right. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Can you send it to me in Uniswap tokens, please? Yeah, no. But he also, the person that purchased this site off us actually said, you know, or I could do Hive or HBD. And like Eliana and I's like eyes lit up. Like, it's like, yeah, actually, how Eliana and I are like paying ourselves for a lot of the stuff now. Eliana's not transferring money. I'm not transferring money. We're literally sending Hive and HBD back and forth to each other. So I am team HBD. I am team Hive. I don't want to touch PayPal stuff. Like, get me away from
PayPal, I took how much in fees from you over the years, John? And you and Eliana send HBD back and forth, and it's zero fees.
Oh, dude, like it's like if people experience the glory, like every time, and this is, you know, the running joke about me and how I can't stand Ethereum and stuff, because I feel so spoiled here on Hive. Like it's 2.9% for PayPal, and then they take like a transaction fee too or something like that. Cost of doing business. Ethereum's got this thing called gas fees, which is basically a tax. That's all it is. It's the biggest unbelievable joke of all crypto, in my opinion. So, but here on Hive, like you said, we can send HBD back and forth. We can send Hive. I can literally send you 0.001 Hive, and it costs me 0.00000 Hive to do it. All I need is the resource credits to do it. So we're spoiled here, man. Like it's so weird remembering that you need to pay for gas fees. I had to pay gas fees just to claim tokens that I'd already purchased. Let that get through. Like, that is another story all in together. But we got it here, man, at Hive. It's amazing. Spoiled, Eliana. We are.
Well, you're not going to get that on the layer twos. Your side chains, you're going to have fees. In some way, shape, or form, they're going to be built in.
Yeah, but it's not going to be a mortgage payment like it is with Ethereum.
No, but you don't have a mortgage payment on Polygon either.
Yeah, do you think that's a good question? Like, is it just like, why hasn't that stuff got adopted? Like, my opinion is that it's as user friendly as smashing your hand with a hammer. Like,
well, what is it going to be adopted for? I mean, even at a penny, you can't use it for social media. So you just took one of the largest use cases of the internet and threw it out the window. So basically, you're back to DeFi.
Right.
And lot gaming, lotteries and stuff like that, where people are used to paying fees. And, quite simply, I don't think Polygon has the appeal that Ethereum does. It certainly doesn't have the money. BSC, has a little bit more money, a little bit more appeal, but everybody and their brother knows CZ runs that show, even though he denies it. So I think, it's like all these Ethereum killers that these EVMs that were forked are supposed to be are not. And people aren't moving away from Ethereum because that's where the money's at. But in terms of the usefulness and the utility of the apps, what are you going to do on there? You're basically stuck in the financial realm because that's where you can get the fees. You can't do a lot of what we're doing on Hive on even the Polygon, because again, are you going to pay a fee,
right,
and take the time to pay a fee to upvote a comment or to upvote a post, and then you got to wait till that gets approved, and then you can leave your comment, and then to leave the comment you got to pay a fee? Nobody's going to do that. It takes too damn long. I mean, even if it takes 5 seconds to get the transaction approved, that's 5 seconds between an upvote and a comment. Who's going to do that?
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah. We have breaking news. Would you like me to pop the breaking news right now?
Sure.
Well, I guess it's not breaking news because it was 20 hours ago. Hive Fest has been announced. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, save the date. 20 hours ago. September 22nd to the 26th. It is in North America, sir. It is in the glorious country of Mexico. So, and for the date, I can't go because that's when my best friend is getting married. So I won't be able to go to Hive Fest, and it's in North America. So that sucks.
And I can't get into Mexico,
so you and I will probably just do this show then.
Yeah, we'll have our own Hive Fest, the Crypto Maniac Hive Fest special.
Rosarito, Mexico. Interesting. It's a coastal city in Baja California. Very nice. I love Cabo. I don't think it's I think it's further north, but Cabo is awesome. Anyways, no, I won't be able to go because my buddy's wedding is the 23rd, 24th.
See, that's why you don't have friends, John. Then your schedule's free.
Yeah,
you don't have a family. You don't have to worry about birthdays, anniversaries. I should have met you 20 years ago. I would have fixed you.
Damn. That sucks. That sucks, man. Anyways, that just put a damper on my day. I was so excited. Anyways. Cal has got another question because Cal is an action taker. We like Cal at the Crypto Maniacs. Task has talked about deflation in the past. How do you see the Tesla bot AI and the convergence of things like Chat GPT playing a role?
Oh, that's extremely deflationary. I mean, you think about the Tesla bot, if they're able to pull this off and do real world jobs like manufacturing jobs in plants and stuff, factories. I mean, even if this sucker costs like $20,000 a piece, in North America, the average wage plus benefits plus all the stuff that goes along with it is probably 60 grand, 55 grand. So what do you think it can spit it out? I mean, technology by definition is deflationary. And that's
Yeah.
one of the points I've always made long term is you might have these short term bouts, but you look at, and I always use this example, what does your long distance phone bill look like?
Yeah.
You don't have that. But
No.
20 years ago, I mean, for John and I just to talk on the phone between our two countries would have probably cost, 50, 60, 70 cents a minute. And that just would have been audio, no video, none of that shit. So when you look at that, you look at, Blockbuster used to charge $3.50 a movie. So two or three movies on the weekends would be $7 or $10.
Right.
That's basically a Netflix subscription or whatever. $1,500 used to be spent on encyclopedias for those who are wealthy to buy their kids a set of encyclopedias. Yeah, who the hell buys encyclopedias? When's the last time you went to the gas station, John, and bought a roadmap? I mean, these are things we take for granted. When's the last time you had a roll of film developed? When's the last time you had to buy a roll of film? This is stuff that people overlook and say, oh, prices are always going up. And it's like, no, there's a lot of shit that's free that doesn't factor into any of these equations because zero means nothing. So it's just a placeholder algebraically. So you can't add, I mean, if the price of something like a postage stamp goes from 10 cents to 50 cents, but you're not using postage stamp because you're emailing, well, you can't figure that out. You're just seeing that as, well, the price went up 5x, except you have another alternative use case. So when you start looking at ChatGPT, you look at the idea of information, editing, content creation, search, all of this stuff. You look at the Tesla bot, you look at any of this automation, you look at energy. Energy can be extremely deflationary if what people say are correct about some of these renewables. And then all of a sudden you just start to look at the cost of this stuff on an hourly basis. And it's like, well, wait a second. This is a fraction to produce what it used to be. And the difference is you can buy these bots, put them in a factory in China, or you can buy these bots, put them in a factory in Ottawa or in Topeka, Kansas, or wherever, because it's just buying the bot and plugging it in, charging it up and letting it run. Yeah. So that's really part of the transition where what we consume will be what's produced will be closer to where it's consumed, a decade from now. So yeah, that's extremely deflationary.
You reminded me of what, like you're saying, long distance phone calls. I got to share with you. This is always story time with Django because every time you mention something, it reminds me of my journey to get here. I got into the internet, like early 90s, mid 90s, and it was brand new. Like this is, web crawler. That was the browser, or the search engine. It was just back in the day stuff, CompuServe, like Prodigy, like that AOL was like brand new. And I just discovered it. And for those, I know a lot of people hearing this will be like, you guys are old. You didn't have broadband back then. So you had to have a modem in your computer and it would have to call a number. Now, the number it called was never a local number. This guy didn't know that. So I'm like, 13, 14 years old. I'm just like, oh, I can get pictures of my favorite musical artists. Oh, look at this. It's on my computer screen. I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew that this modem dialed and it started talking. My mom probably would have disowned me because she got her phone bill the first month that we got the internet. It was like $2,000 in long distance calls just to get the modem online. Like, people don't understand what it was like back then. They just think, oh, this is all, this is why it's like so important to note that this is not 100 years ago. This was literally 25 years ago, 30 years ago that this stuff was not commonplace. So this AI stuff is just
for a job I had, I went and bought a laptop. This was 2001, maybe 2000. Probably 2002 or 2003. It was $1,800. Now, don't ask me the specs, but I guarantee it's nothing compared to this laptop I'm on now, which cost me, a few $100, $400 or something. So, I mean, this is stuff that people overlook, and it's like, no, there's a lot of areas where things have plummeted and are going to plummet. And what Cal mentioned with the Tesla bot, obviously, I'm invested in Tesla. Elon's going after the biggest market there is there, labor. And, how many bots could they build? 1 billion of them? I mean, really, it's a huge market. Obviously, a lot needs to be done on the robotic side and on the AI side, the software side. But yeah, they could push the labor per hour rate down to next to nothing when you think about it.
It's crazy. People were on the wrong threadcast, so they're at the right one now. So Tokenize is here. Hello, Maniacs. Could you do a quick rundown of all the current active projects under the CTP umbrella, their current statuses, and brief comment on what the plans are for the future? Yeah, absolutely. So right now for us, the two big things that are directly tied to the tokens on Hive would be CTPX and Listeners. Those are the two projects under the CTP umbrella that specifically have a tokenization of them. That's one side of it. On the other side of it, we have Click Track Profit itself, so CTP itself, which is a training platform that has crypto education in it. So we bring all of our people in to learn about crypto, and this is where we onboard people. And my son decided that, hi, buddy, I'm doing a show. I'll be back in a second. Okay, there you go. Of course. They haven't seen me all day. So yeah, CTP is the catch-all, the funnel, the top of the funnel that we bring people into Hive from. So that's our training platform. But we also have a specific training platform called the Hive Guide, which is our A to Z guide of how to get started on Hive. Basic stuff that helps onboard people as well. Start Earning Today is another kind of free funnel where we funnel people into Hive, getting them to start using Hive. So basically, the big two is CTP and Listeners on the blockchain per se. Those have
CTPX, you mean?
CTPX, sorry, yes, CTPX and Listeners. But then on the off-chain model, we have the Click Track Profit itself, as well as the Hive Guide, Start Earning Today, that funnel people into Hive that eventually get them using the blockchain. So that's Eliana. If I'm forgetting any, I don't think so. I think those are the four, like off the top of my head that I can remember. So CTP and I'm an idiot. Hive HE Index. But that's not really a CTP project. It is, but it's pretty much owned by the people that own the tokens. So even though I guess HE Index would be considered under the CTP umbrella, but it's whoever owns the tokens, right? So there you go. Good question, though. Thank you. Thank you for the CTP content. We appreciate it, Tokenize. Would you agree that Threads is making short-form content more acceptable on Hive? Do you think something could happen to short videos when that gets implemented? Well, I mean, the big news this week was, ThreeSpeak getting onto the App Store for Apple, which is a miracle in itself. I have yet to try it out just because I've been working like crazy this week, but I'm massive fan of short form content. I've been a fan of short form content. I love like to. I love Three Speak. I love Threads. I love all of this stuff. And when I say Three Speak, I mean Three Speak Shorts. What they're trying to really implement here. I love this stuff. This is where the internet is, man. The internet isn't sitting around on Medium.com, guys. They're not. And I know that might upset people, but it's the truth. The snackable content, Eliana, absolutely. We talk about this in CTP. We've talked about this in CTP for a decade plus. Snackable content is the most important content. You have two types of content. You have your stock and your flow content. Your flow content is the snackable. It's the stuff you just do, like Task is on Threads all the time. That's snackable. People don't need to sit down and read War and Peace. But then he has his stock content, his pillar content, his content that he's famous for. One of ours that we're trying to work on right now is obviously this podcast. This podcast, we're trying to make this stock content where people know that, oh, Django and Task are doing this podcast. This is stuff I can get used to. Every week they're going to be doing their podcast. But hey, they're on Threads. They're doing little things on Like To. John's taking pictures of his dog on Like To. They're uploading videos to Three Speak Shorts. I mean, yes, this is where we need to go on Hive. Yes, short form content is extremely important. It's more important. I'm not saying that long form doesn't have its place. It does. It absolutely does. But if you want people using this stuff, majority of people are not going to write 500 word posts. They just won't. They're not going to. But they'll upload pictures of their dog. What do you think, Task?
Yeah, I mean, it's to be an alternative to what's going on. You have to be an alternative. You have to hit on all the points. And Medium is not, and what's the other one? Substack are not the dominant social media apps. YouTube, I question whether that's even the dominant video app anymore. I mean, TikTok, you may be able to make a case TikTok has passed them. I don't know the numbers. I haven't looked up, TikTok's numbers versus YouTube's. But, YouTube went and implemented the shorts too. Obviously, Twitter is implementing that.
Right.
It's just these platforms are going to become all-encompassing. Musk is pushing in that direction, and Facebook, I forget what they started to implement. They're doing, in response to Musk, they're starting to do some things with Instagram. They're not going to sit around. So if you think Hive's success is trying to take on Medium, well, guess what? Medium's probably going to get waxed by those people who pay Elon Musk $8 a month that then can write long form content on there and get 1,000 times the views that they do on Medium.
Right.
That's just the way it is. So, if you want a decentralized offering, you better have a full offering.
Yeah. It makes sense. I mean, again, this is most people. It's a really good thing that happened a couple of years ago on Hive. I forget the author. It was a lady that was really active, and she hasn't been around for a while now. But she always said that this blockchain, we have a lot of creators. We don't have enough consumers of the content. And I think to consume content, it needs to be short form. It needs to be snackable, as the CTP brand, we call it snackable content. It needs to be that so we can consume it easier. I can definitely go and do threadcasts on Threads without having to sit down and write a dissertation. You can engage with people on Threads without having to go, it needs to be a certain amount of characters. Like, this is what we need to consume content as a blockchain. So I'm all for it. I think it's fantastic. I'm all for it. And I want to see more and more and more and more of it. So yes, tokenized. Absolutely. It's great. Jessica says, we are talking to businesses about tokenomics. How could be one way for traditional businesses with tangible assets implement tokens on Hive? That's an interesting one.
Well, I would say for the time being, you can't. because what you need for that, Jessica, is you really need smart contracts. And so that's a question. Hold that for the end of the year. See what kind of smart contracts platforms come out from Vaultec, from Speak Network. And then you might see the capability of building apps to take real world assets of businesses, such as inventory, things of that nature, and tie them to the blockchain. For now, I would focus on the aspect of talking to businesses to get in the habit of using Hive for the marketing, for the engagement, for the interaction, for the payment system, obviously. HBD as a payment system is pretty powerful. No merchant fees, no user fees, 1.6, 1.7 second settlement. I mean, that's unrivaled. You earn some HBD, throw it in savings, you earn 20%. I mean, these are things that can be applicable to businesses, but in terms of taking real world assets, I don't think we're at that point because we don't really have smart contract capabilities yet. The other aspect to this is you could start to use, if you're a business, depend on the business, you could start to use Hive as a decentralized database. And because what you post on Hive is a database. Obviously you'd have to build the front end to retrieve your data, but you could do that as long as it's something that's obviously not private information that you don't want out there, like payroll or something like that.
You're basically doing this with Glossary, right? I mean, like now, obviously, I'm not saying it's Taskmaster Inc. here, but like a company could literally create their own like Wikipedia,
yeah,
and it's database, right?
I said since I started this, if you have a website, why don't you build a glossary on Hive and pull it to your website and have it right there on your website? If you're in the mortgage business, if you're in, the real estate business, if you're in whatever business and you have a glossary of terms. But yes, anybody could build anything. I mean, here's, and you and I talked to Raymond about it and it went right over his head. He has Cine TV. Well, now I see people, not only are they bitching about IMDb, which is owned by Amazon, now Rotten Tomatoes or whatever the hell that site is now corrupted because you can't go by the reviews on there because they're being paid off by the movie studios and stuff like that.
Of course.
And I've said, why don't you build your own IMDb on Hive? Built it through Cine TV. They already have the ability to write through Cine TV. And why not have that as a database and get that ranked in the search engine? So when somebody searches Kevin Costner, they might see IMDb, but then all of a sudden they see Cine TV. And you click on Kevin Costner and you see Dances with Wolves. You click on that, you see a write-up about, you see everything in it. And then maybe there's links to Cine TV posts where people reviewed, the movie. And then, of course, there's a comment section down below and people can leave their comments. This is a great movie, or this was one of Costner's worst, or whatever it is. And it's all right there. Yeah. And, it's just, this is where I don't think people, and this kind of reverts back to what you started the show with, John. I don't think people look at this shit as a business. And it's like, what are you building? Where is your platform going? What are you doing? What's it going to be in 3 years? Is it going to be the same thing as it is now? And I think, unfortunately, for most of these platforms, the answer is yes. And it's like, well, why don't you invest the time now? And, I made a 3-year commitment to Leo Glossary, and this was something I did all on my own. This had nothing to do with Cal or anything. Now, Cal is going to have the developers incorporate it because it is a Leo Finance project. It's using Leo Finance to post from, so it gets a canonical or whatever that's called weighting. And, this is for the community. But it's such a simple concept. And yes, I turn down rewards. I put, whatever it is, I don't burn the rewards. I just decline the rewards. And if you do that, then there's no problem with, you're just posting this stuff and, making 40 posts a day. Well, if you make 40 posts a day on a glossary and turn down rewards, nobody gives a shit. And now all of a sudden you have a decentralized database. Nobody can buy it. Nobody can touch it. Somebody could go buy Investopedia and start changing it if they wanted, just like Amazon bought IMDb. So I don't know why people haven't thought of this, and then of course, if you want, which Leo Finance is going to implement, they're implementing ad revenue. So all of these Leo glossary pages have ads on them. I mean, it's such a simple concept, but nobody wants to do it because there's no direct reward, and it's like, and we wonder why pet projects aren't going anywhere, and that's, in my opinion, the reason, because they're not doing anything.
There was an ad that was served here. Did you see it show up? It just showed up. I mean, there's the banner one, but one just showed up in your Threadcast, sir. It was great.
Yeah, they're
I love it.
And you get some of these Threadcasts that I've done. Jimmy and I and Tokenize was in there too today for the Met game, and we had like 230 comments between the three of us.
Amazing.
And Tokenize was working, so he wasn't able to dedicate a lot of time to it. But he threw in his questions, and Leo Threads is an education center. Tokenize is learning all about American baseball now. He's going to be an expert by the end of the season.
Just cheer for the Blue Jays.
But there was three. He's a masochist. We're making him a Met fan, Jimmy and I.
Perfect.
But there was like 4 ads in there, because you scroll down, there's so many damn comments that you end up with 4 or 5 different ads in the comment section.
Right.
And it's like, that's great. That's cool. And I don't know, for the life of me, it's like, you could do this with sports stats. You could do it with, anything. Anything.
Nifty is in the Threadcast, and he wants to know, which project do I go to learn about feet for science?
See, I mean, there is, you could either take it from the fetish or the scientific perspective, yes. And you could have a glossary about feet, and you could actually have both. You could have the scientific terms and the fetish terms, and it would be a foot glossary. And I am going to hypothesize, if you did that on Hive and you had a website, you're probably going to rank at the top of the search engines. Now, I don't know how many searches there are for feet. I guess, if you rank with bunion, you probably, or hangnail, you may end up getting a lot of searches. But, and we're joking with this, but that's the thing. It could be done with anything. It's not that complicated.
That's from Tokenized in Vim, just for you to ask.
What did he say? I can't read it.
It said "Go Mets."
Yeah, well, we brainwashed him.
I just say you've corrupted the poor guy, man.
Yes, we have, but it's.
What was the answer for your question? You asked this last night, and then because, dude, I'm so weird now. Like, I go to bed early, like an old man now, because I got to get up at like 6 a.m, which is completely foreign to me. For 20 years, I never had an alarm clock. So you asked a question yesterday in Threads, and I'm curious about the answer. You asked who was the Babe Ruth or the Wayne Gretzky or the LeBron James, Michael Jordan.
I never got an answer that I could see.
Well, I said Ronaldo. Like, would that be? Because he's played
sounds
for
good to me.
United.
I don't know. I was impressed you didn't say Pele. I mean, it's
did Pele play in EPL?
No, he wasn't in the EPL. He was Brazilian, and he spent most of his time.
That's why I'm like,
I don't know. It's. I don't know. I mean, Diego Maradona, but he was South American. I think he was Argentinian.
Like, if they played in the EPL, like the I can think of off the top of my head who's
Ronaldo did, but I don't know if
yeah.
Maradona played in the EPL. I don't know. That's why I asked. It was an honest question. Who is the Babe Ruth of the EPL? Who's the guy, or the Wayne Gretzky of the EPL? The guy that you say he's the greatest. Or who's the Michael Jordan, Wilt Chamberlain, Oscar Robinson, where you have 3 guys and everybody argues over who's the greatest, like in the NBA. Right. I don't know. Ronaldo,
that's who I would have to go. But then my knowledge, okay. But see, this is the thing. Tokenized Messi hasn't played in EPL, right?
I don't know. Messi may be in the EPL. I don't know.
I know Ronaldo has, because I know he's done 2 stints with United, so I know it for sure. But I don't even know if Messi's played in EPL. Eliana's here. Anything that does to do with Ronaldo, Eliana says right, because she is Portuguese, and on top of that, she lives in where Ronaldo is from, the hometown. So there you go.
I don't know. But that goes back to what Threads is and the type of engagement you can have and the interaction. Messi never been in
Okay.
EPL.
Gotcha.
So,
Cool.
you can have these conversations. You can ask this stuff. You can have these threadcasts. And Cal's a big supporter of threadcasts. And
For sure.
at some point in time, I'm going to start moving the idea to another level with containers. And that's a way that we can do this. But today I did a thread storm on the top 50 banks by assets under management.
Right.
And it's 50 different. I mean, it's one thread with 50 different comments underneath, essentially. And I didn't do it for comment, for thread numbers, because I don't give a shit. Yeah. But I did it because now, what do you have? You have this on the blockchain. Now, I don't know if it'll ever rank, but here's a thread storm with the top 50 banks by assets under management. Google's going to see that at some point. And, you could do this with the top 10 EPL scorers of all time. You could do this with the top 10 EPL salaries, or the top 10 NFL salaries, or the 10 highest paid quarterbacks in NFL history, or, right, whatever you want. And this is the stuff that, I don't know what to put on Threads. Well, put anything, put information, put data, because we know the value of data in decentralized databases. At some point, some machine learning engine is going to be looking at this stuff and going through it. So put it up there.
Right.
And,
maybe for people that, I'm saying maybe for people that might not know, AKA Django, maybe describe what a container would be. What do you, when you're talking threadcast, we understand that, but like, what would be a container?
It's the same thing as a threadcast. A container, I set up a container for my own threads.
Right.
Because instead of spamming the main page, especially with no filters, I did this a couple of weeks ago. So I set up a container. I said, Taskmaster's container. Here's going to be all my threads. And so underneath, I just started putting shit that moved me. You could look at it, you could not look at it, but this is stuff I wanted to thread about. So I put something up there about, the Mets sucked last night. Then I put up there, crypto's tanking, and oil's up, and gold's down, and Tesla's up. And, then I saw an article about, Coinbase or MetaMask, right, or something. And, I'm putting all kinds of stuff in here. Here's an interesting fact on, anteaters or whatever. And I kept throwing that out. I put the link out periodically throughout the day, and I said, come in here and, look through my threads and comment on them if you want. But you could do a container, and it's set up the same as a thread cache. You have the main top level thread, then underneath it, everything goes. But what if you set up a container for, here's today's crypto discussion. And so everything in there is about crypto. So people can drop links to Cointelegraph or CoinDesk or whatever. They could come in there and talk about it. They could throw their charts on it. You could set up a container. Here's today's CTP container. Any questions about CTP? Any comments about CTP? Anything about CTP? Here it is. Put it under here. Eliana and I will be in here and we'll respond. We'll answer questions. We'll comment. We'll do whatever. It's the same thing. And you could do, again, about any subject. So a container is basically a threadcast without being tied to a broadcast. We have this threadcast going because it's tied to this broadcast. This broadcast ends, basically the threadcast ends. But you have a container, it's built around a certain topic. It's built around, a conversation piece. Let's take, for example, it's NFL season. This will be right up your alley. And today we got the Bills versus the Jets. but it's Sunday, so there's going to be an assortment of other games. So
Right.
we're going to set up a Bills versus Jets threadcast. But before the games, and let's say it's this is a bad example because I don't play at 4, they play at 1. But let's say we did it it was a 4 o'clock game for some reason. So let's say we set up an NFL container for today.
Right.
It's Sunday, so 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock Eastern time. We throw up an NFL container. And NFL fans come in there and talk about the pregame show and, how Coach Dicka is losing his mind and how Boomer or Phil Simms is an idiot. And so we're talking about that. And, oh, my God, Dak isn't going to play for the Cowboys. And, oh, the Vikings suck. And, all this stuff is in a container. So you have this conversation around the NFL. And that wouldn't be necessarily game specific.
Well,
because there's a lot of games, and then you take your threadcast for the Dallas at the Redskins game or the Jets at the Bills game, and you set up a threadcast, and the Bills and the Jet fans or haters can get in there and engage during the game.
Yes, that'd be great. And I've always said that I would love for some way, obviously, devs would be required, but some way to implement threads into different programs that we own, because then we could have a container for that specific program and people could have little discussions with each other, which is very popular in my neck of the woods. So
and it's right now, I mean, it's I'm hoping threadcasts get officially adopted where there's like I want to push Cal into like a scheduler where, okay, the Bills and the Jets play at 1 o'clock today. So John goes in, and at 10 in the morning, he sets up the Bills Jets threadcast, and he does it through the scheduler. So it's there. I come in an hour later, I look through the schedule and I see, oh, look, there's a Jets Bills threadcast. Game 1 o'clock Eastern time. Okay, I can get into it or not, or no, I don't give a crap about that one. Then I scroll down a little lower. Oh, look, RM Sadkri put in an EPL threadcast for a game at 3 o'clock Eastern time. Okay, I'm more interested in that. I see those Cryptomaniac guys are starting it tonight at 8 o'clock. Okay, I'll get into that. I think that would be very powerful. But these containers are just a way that I started playing around in my mind of, okay, how can somebody put something together based upon either their own personal account or on a topic where people can come together and find all this stuff? Because when you got all these threads all over the place, even with tagging, we know tags are abused. People tag spam. People use tags for all kinds of stupid shit that doesn't apply. And so if you have a container around crypto or around the stock market or around, the NFL today, then people can go into that container and discuss that topic and find other people who like that topic. So, these are just some of the ideas I'm playing with, but this is the other point to Leo Finance and Threads. Use some fucking imagination, get some ingenuity, get some creativity, think of ways to do it, whether with the tags or with the threads themselves. And, think of this as a decentralized database, and don't worry about, getting upvotes and thread counts and things of that nature. I mean, I did a 50, that banking one. I mean, and it was a copy paste. I just found a page on Wikipedia that had the numbers, and I copied and pasted, and it was 50 threads. But I wasn't doing it for that purpose. I mean, I guess the contest is over anyway. But I did that so the information's on there. And, these are things, thread storms, containers, threadcasts, tags. This has very flexible use cases. And I'm sure there's dozens others that I haven't thought about. So use some creativity. Figure out ways to use it instead of just posting a link to your long form blog content, hoping somebody's going to, upvote you. Yeah. And, I did send out a thread about this, and I'm actually going to extend it to a full post, but this goes back to branding. You are creating your brand, whether it's intentional or not.
Exactly.
And all those people were on Threads the last few weeks just for the contest, and they were all there all the time. And now they're gone. That the contest is over. That's your brand in my mind.
Yeah.
You know, so people have to look at this stuff that, this is create a brand, and people go on the Threads and complain, how come I'm not getting any upvotes? Well, if you're begging up for upvotes on Threads, there's your brand.
Right.
If you're going to sit and whine about the whales, there's your brand. And John, my answer in the past, it was go leave 500 comments. Go leave, go look at there's somewhere floating around. Go look under Leo Growth, I think, and maybe under a Nomad Souls thread profile too. Go look at the results for last month. There were a number of people who had over 3,000 threads. All these people have a brand and are known. Now, they may not be doing much, but they have a brand. They were on there. RM Sadcree, JFang, Nifty,
Yep.
iFarm Girl. I mean, all these people hit over 3,000 threads. Now, is it any coincidence that they were known to me and you before this? No.
Yeah.
Guess what? Now they're known to a whole hell of a lot more people than they were before.
Yep.
And, none of them are sitting there just spamming the chain and putting up bullshit. They're all engaging. They're all talking. They all, okay, they may not put 225 character threads together on every single one of them. I mean, Nifty is known for replying with 3 words, and one of them is usually feet.
Feet.
So,
yes. Yes.
We get
Or sir.
But yeah, well, he's very proper in his fetish too.
Yes.
That's what it takes to stand out. I mean, for 2.5 years, John and I have done this show, and it's like, it's no secret.
Yep.
It's just show up, be consistent, be dedicated, and be excited about stuff. And, look to give. Why is this comparable to Splinterlands? Well, I really can't talk about Splinterlands because I never saw what you did. But with this, we can influence what's taking place. We have Leo staked. We can influence the numbers. We can influence the ad revenue. We can influence what takes place by being active. This show, we set up a threadcast. Okay, maybe we only got 20 threads. Yeah. But we had a threadcast, and we're going to do it for the next, if we're on the air 2.5 more years, we're going to do a threadcast every show for the next 2.5 years. And maybe at some point we get, 250 threads.
EPL numbers.
What?
EPL numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say CTT. The problem with getting CTT is I end up doing most of them anyway. And, since I'm on air here, I'm not in threads, answering and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, and you know what? In all honesty, if we get the threadcast and it's only 20, 25, 30 people, and most of them are thread comments, and most of them are questions to the show, that's great. That's what it is. That's what we want, because here's a way to engage. And guess what? John and I will go through and we'll upvote every comment in there. That gets you a little bit of Leo. It gets you a little bit of HBD.
Yep.
It helps our show. It helps you guys. We thank you for listening. I mean, it's a two-way street. And, no, this won't be like EPL, because EPL, they're very passionate, as all sports fans are. I mean, we're not going to even duplicate what happens during the Bills game, because if you set up a threadcast for the Bills, even if you're the only one in there, you're going to do 50 comments, either talking how great Josh Allen is or how Josh Allen sucks today. And he couldn't hit the ocean if he fell out of a boat. The way he's
Josh Allen needs to stop dating Marvel superheroes and start concentrating on football. So
hey, did you see? Tokenize. If you have a link to that video, drop it in the thread cache for John. Did you see? I mean, Tom Brady, who I know you have an unfavorable
My favorite.
relationship with.
It's my
But
favorite.
no doubt his success speaks for itself. And he retired from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Here's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Granted, he not the same quarterback he was with the Patriots. But did you see the slugs they have replaced him? One is Baker Mayfield, who's bombed in at least 2 cities, maybe 3.
First overall pick, Baker.
Yeah,
Mayfield.
and he bombed in Cleveland, then he bombed in Carolina, and I think he was somewhere last year that he bombed.
L.A.,
And
the Rams. Yes,
he was with the Rams last
Yeah,
year?
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so 3 cities he bombed out in, and there's somebody else. I don't even know this other guy's name. And there's a video of them. It's like Tim Tebow passing. I mean, this is how bad they are. And Tokenize posted. He had a video that evidently is going viral about it. It's like to go from an all-time great Hall of Fame quarterback to these clowns. It's just pretty funny. But you know. Anyway, get back to it. See, this is what gets stimulated. By the way, that was stimulated through a thread I put up about the Buccaneers and their quarterbacks and their quarterback race. And Tokenize just responded, and he happened to have a video that he had seen that he was able to pull up and throw it in there. That's what Threads does. And that's why I'm so excited from a business building perspective, because the threads of today, June 1st, 2023, and the threads of June 1st, 2024, I'm going to hypothesize aren't even going to be anywhere close to each other, because Cal is building. They are developing more. They are adding more. They are looking for input like the thread scheduler and these different ideas. And if we could keep fostering this, that's going to make the value of our tokens go up. That's going to make the value of the platform go up. And, if people take that approach to, here's a question for you. How do I help Leo Finance? Not what can I get out of it. How do I help it? What can I do? What can I bring to the table that will help Leo Finance? And we don't have nearly enough of that.
Yep. Good stuff. Tokenize said that he would drop it in the Threadcast, so I'll check that out after the show. Couple of housekeeping things before we sign off. First, lots of people are looking for the Zeely word. I touched base with Eric. I sent him a note. We have not confirmed, so it's not live yet, but I will tell him if we are still doing the word today, the word will be Ronaldo. So you had to be here to get the reference. So that will be the word for the Zeely. It's not live right now because I haven't confirmed with Eric, but when we do, that will be the word of the day. That's first thing. Second bit of housekeeping news. Speaking of Eric and Nifty will be going live here in a little bit for the Cryptoholics show. Friends of the show, dear friends of the show. So be sure to tune in for them as well. And then we'll be back on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Guaranteed 8 p.m. Eastern. Because my schedule, I'm starting to see a pattern now. First week was a little weird. I'm starting to see a pattern. So I can commit to 8 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday. So you guys have a fantastic weekend. Task, have a great night. And we'll see you guys next week. Toodles.
Ciao.